Hello everyone, and welcome to the number 9, the number that rules the universe. This is the divine code on how and why the number 9 models everything in our universe. To see more from the studio of Scubo Pruitt, just go to eBay and YouTube and search Scubo Pruitt. So let's get ready. You're getting ready to have a lot of 9s thrown at you. So you're just going to need some very easy basic skills. We'll be doing simple addition for the most part. The method is adding up numbers until you come up with a single digit. We'll start right here at the 8 plus 8 equals 16, and then we're going to add the 1 and the 6, which equals 7, to get our single digit. We'll drop down to the bottom where we have 128 and 128, which equals 256. So then we add the 2, the 5, and the 6 to get 13, and for our single digit we add 1 plus 3, which equals 4. Okay, let's get some practice, shall we? Why don't we add up all the other single digits except 9 and see what comes up? So we're going to add the 0 plus the 1 plus the 2 plus the 3 plus the 4 plus the 5 plus the 6 plus the 7 plus the 8, and we get 36. Then we're going to add the 3 and the 6, and guess what comes up? It's a 9. If you add the 9, it's still 45. The 4 plus the 5 equals 9. Now that was an interesting coincidence. But let's take a look further to our big planet Earth. These are the most popular directional points on our planet, and they all add up to 9. It's a big 360-degree circle, but when you take the 3, the 6, and the 0 and add them up, it's 9. At the northeast point, the 4 and the 5 are adding up to 9. At the east point, the 9 and the 0 add up to 9. We'll move all the way over to the west side. The 2, the 7, and the 0 add up to 9. At northwest, 3, 1, and 5 all add up to 9. Why is this? We're going to explain that a little bit further in detail in this next segment. So we know that a whole circle is 360 degrees, and when you add up the 3, the 6, and the 0, you get the 9. But as you look, as we break it all the way down to smaller fractions that we haven't discussed yet, even at 1/16, which is 22.5 degrees, those numbers add up to 9. The same with 1/32, 11.25, the 1, 1, the 2, and the 5 equals 9. So yeah, that was pretty cool too. But what if we lived in a box or a different geometric figure? Like a box has 4 sides with 90 degrees, which equals 360 degrees. And we all know what happens when you add up the 3, the 6, and the 0. You end up with a 9 in this cube or box or square. So, what about a triangle? It's not likely we're ever going to live in a triangle, but it does have 3 60-degree sides, which actually totals 180. And then when you add the 1, the 8, and the 0, you still are coming up with the 9. So let's take a quick look at all the other figures that surround us all the time, like a pentagon, which has 5 108-degree sides to equal 540, but the 5, the 4, and the 0 still come up to be 9. Now, a 6-sided box, which is a hexagon, has 120-degree sides and angles, and 6 of them to total 720. But when you add up the 7, the 2, and the 0, it still equals 9. This big octagon box here has some real odd 67.5 degree angles and 8 of them, which totals 540. But when you put the 5, the 4, and the 0, you're still coming up with a 9. How about a nonagon? You don't see many of these, but there's 9 140-degree sides to total 1260. But when you add the 1, the 2, the 6, and the 0, you still end up with 9. And finally, we got our big decagon here, 10 sides at 144 degrees to total 1440, and we still add the 1, 4, 4, and 0 and get 9. Alright, let's play around with the 9 a little bit more here. Unlike the other numbers, if you start doubling 9, it will always equal 9. Like 9 plus 9 is 18, but when you take the 1 and the 8 and add them together, you get 9. Down at 36 plus 36, which is also a multiple of 9, you get 72. When you add the 7 and the 2 together, it equals 9. We'll drop down to the big one down here at 576 plus 576, which equal 1152. And you add the 1, the 1, the 5, and the 2, and it still equals 9. Even multiples of 9. 9 times 3 equals 27, but 2 plus 7 is 9. And down at the bottom, 6 times 9 is 54, and 5 plus 4 is 9, and it's always going to come up that way. And just like I promised, when you start doubling all the other numbers, the 9s just seem to vanish. Like 1 plus 1 equals 2, 2 plus 2 equals 4, 4 plus 4 equals 8, 8 plus 8 equals 16, but when you take the 1 and the 6, add them together, you get 7. Now this progression follows all the way down through the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, the 5s, the 6s. The only time that any of these numbers even add up to themselves when you double them are in the 3s and the 6s. Other than that, they don't add up to each other, and they don't add up to 9. So, if the other numbers rarely finish with themselves, and only the 3s and the 6s show up very rarely, take a look at this detail. Both the 3 and the 6 are multiples of 3, which also go into 9. So now that you've seen how and why the number 9 is the number that rules the universe, you need to know, or some of you may already know, that this study can be used in physics, science, astronomy, navigation, art, and even magic. The possibilities are absolutely endless. And we highly encourage you to subscribe below and tell us what the number 9 means to you. And tell us what kind of fantastic things you've done as a result of this study. We really love to hear from you anytime. To get more from Scubo Pruitt, you can see more from the artist and the mind at eBay and at youtube.com. You will never see a larger variety of the most unique and unusual toys and trinkets than the ones produced by Scubo Pruitt Studio. Thank you again for becoming aware of the divine code regarding the number 9. We encourage all of you to share this with your family and friends on social media.